Well, for me, the idea of what used to be, somebody could heal it in this short of a time and somebody in a longer amount of time, and it was all mysterious. And so that mysterious, miraculous kind of language was, for me, made it be something that I couldn't ever reach for or accomplish myself. And so it was always just maybe it would happen, or it happened for someone, or it could happen. So those sorts of ideas were always there. So the idea of healing in the body happening through me becoming more open and more accepting of myself, I am just walking evidence of it. I was told that I had lumbar disc disease and that by the time I was 40 I would be in a wheelchair. And I'm way past 40 now.
Yeah, dancing around and jumping
yep,
up and down.
Jumping around for a living. And that was because of dropping a belief system.
Right.
Dropping a way that energetically, emotionally, I had to hold my body that was hurting me. And some of that hurt was somehow suiting me.
Right.
I have no need for that anymore, thank goodness. And so that happened. All kinds of things have happened to me, due to self-neglect a lot. Sexual abuse, different ways it's happened to me, that I held all of that energy for so long. And now that's gone. And so I'm feeling way more things than I ever was before. Right. Some of it came through the hands of a amazing chiropractic, teaches acupuncture and all kinds of different healing in Edmonton, just an amazing man. I walked into his office and he went, I can see energy in the top third of your body and the bottom third, and nothing in the middle.
Right.
And so him teaching me how to open to my own energy again, because I'd shut down, I didn't want to feel nothing in this area. Right. And then that was really scary. So a big process of opening to that, and now the things I can feel, the instincts and intuitions that I have access to, the love that's there for me. Yeah. I can feel my own love. Yes. I'm not looking so hard for love outside of me. I got my own. And myself, I had to deconstruct self before I could decide that who I really meant about all these things that are so confusing in our language, right, that we use to pin our children down or lift our children up or rip them apart from not knowing. And I do it with my children, learning to not. But who I really wanted to be in touch with was this individual that I am. Right. And I can call it myself, or any old thing will work as long as I know who I'm talking about. Right. Is this individual. Right. And this individual went, me? Like, are you sure that you want to talk to me? Because this is going to be a life-changing game if you really want to talk to the individual here. And so that's what I'm up to, is that individual is getting some opportunities that I've always wanted but had locked away in yearning. A group that I love to hang around with, they're called Flower of Life. And in that group, lots of times we get together and we know how much energy when we call a Merkabah meditation. That's the meditation we do. Right. And that meditation happens and this powerful energy is created, and oftentimes we would like to do something with it at that time. So this was several years ago, and my son his hand was broken. And he was told that there was a certain number of, they would want to look at it in a few days to see how it was setting. And if it wasn't up to snuff, they would have to re-break it, go into surgery with it. And so he knew he had a certain number of days, and we were, definitely keeping him quiet, not letting him use the hand, letting the swelling go down, do all we could. And then we got a call that he was bumped forward, that he was going to be going in the next day, and we weren't ready. We didn't feel we had enough time to do what we needed to do. Right. So I had a group with, our monthly meeting with my Flower of Life group, and we, they asked for where should we direct this energy when it arose at that meeting. And I mentioned my son. Right. And so we directed it towards him, and it to me felt like sometimes I can feel that I'm being a conduit, I'm being a hollow bone, I'm allowing for things to happen through me, and sometimes I don't. And that day I felt the heat, the vibration, all of the things that I call it's working. And went home that day and didn't mention anything, and with my way of being, I totally forgot about it. Oh, done, let that go. And I never keep things in my mind too long. Went home and my son was like, okay, Mom, I'm really worried. not too long after you left, the whole thing started burning and itching, and I'm, I think that, it's not going to be good. And so I just thought, okay, well, just relax and we'll see. Because in my mind, burning and itching is healing. That's what that is.
Yeah, it's so
Get that knitting needle out of there, honey. Out of the dump pot. Let's just see.
Yeah.
And he went the next day, and sure enough, once they x-rayed it and had a look at it, he was able to not move, to not have to have the surgery.
Right.
We had somehow made what was left of the crushedness work.
Yeah.
And he, to this day, goes along. He's got a bit of a flattened knuckle in that one. No, my God, I'm looking. I got flattened. Maybe it's inherited.
Yeah.
I have to show him, honey, is this what your flat knuckle looks like? Because I've never looked at my knuckle while telling this story before. So, yeah, interesting.
It is interesting.
But it works. He's a sheet metal worker now and works with his hands a lot, and it works.
Yeah.
Kaya Clements taught me the Merkabah meditation and my Flower of Life meditation.
Right.
And visiting at his place, and I wanted to introduce a girlfriend to the meditation, so I invited her to the monthly group, totally forgetting that she's very allergic to cats, and their house is loaded with cats.
Wow.
The kind of cats that if you're feeling any kind of sadness, they're the ones that will crawl right on you and sit on you and so on. I keep touching this thing.
Cats are so sensitive.
Yes, and so she walked in the door and they are both coming towards her, and she looked at me like, oh my God, and I looked at Sylvia, the woman of the house, and she said, oh, we've made it so that you could choose to not be bothered by them. And I just went, oh, good, and forgot about it, and somehow my girlfriend also managed to do that.
Right.
And that's the part of the big deal of it, I think, too, is Sylvia got it across to her that you could make a different choice while you're here.
Yeah.
And so we left after hours of being in that space, and she phoned me the next day, this woman that was with me, and she said, you have to phone Sylvia and find out what she sprayed all over the house, because it worked. I didn't even puff up at all. And this is the very same woman who years before we went horseback riding, and she touched a horse and touched her lips, and her lips completely puffed up.
Oh,
like
wow.
She's that sensitive.
Wow.
And this sort of jerk that we were horseback riding with looked at her and goes, touch your boobs, touch your boobs. I digress. But anyway, there she was, and she wondered what had been sprayed all over this house.
Right.
And so I called Sylvia and said, what did you spray all over your house that she could, be okay? And she said, oh, I didn't spray anything all over the house. In our Merkabah, we put that intention.
Right.
We put that choice in our Merkabah. Storytellers among Native people are medicine people.
Right.
And a lot of what I do is entertaining storytelling. So for a while I had a separation of I'm an entertainer, storyteller.
Right.
And people would come and want things from me, like this woman to teach how to heal, listen with your entire body. I'm like, I'm a storyteller, So then coming to this piece that we're talking about right now, discovering that I can't help it. I can't stop it from being healing.
Right.
I can promote the healing nature of it, or I can disregard the healing nature of it. Right. I've had people come up to me, after storytelling and just be crying and saying, help me, help me. And I said, I think I did. You found that, what you're crying about. And they're like, yeah, but... And so basically that's what we do, is the person goes into a mode of pretty well just saying everything that they didn't ever get to say.
Right.
And sometimes they even imagine the person that they didn't get to say it to is there. They may have been passed away for years,
right.
but they say it. And that it's cathartic and
is.
Hugely changing.
It is.
And they bucket all that out, bucket, and often getting to the bottom of all that is that self-actualization. That individual comes out. Mm-hmm. And they'll have even beautiful awakening experiences of oneness with themselves and, their complete self.
Right.
They just break through into this place of no story. And it's a place of then there's nothing between you. You just kind of this odd smile or laugh, and they get how ridiculous the struggle has been, and all of this, what they've been making up, is just that, and everything ever between us is gone. Mm-hmm. And they get to be there in that place of no story. Mm-hmm. And the story is still all, there's still this, but it just everything becomes more priorityless. Everything becomes obviously a preference or a choice.
Right.
Instead, my medicine wheel steps again. The idea of first you have to be aware of something. And you can get aware, someone can say, why do you keep doing that? Or, whatever way you get aware of it. And then you start witnessing it. And then you start accepting that it is the way you are for some particular reason. That's me. I'm going to accept this of me, love this of me, open this of me, or whatever. And then you can start expressing that with authenticity.
Right.
And it comes from you, and it's you doing it. And then the power of you can back it up. And that's the authority piece. So to me, that's the wheel that comes around in there, and then you are the authority in there. And there's so much more you can do with it when you're the authority of it. The witnessing of it, you can do so much on your own in that way. And also then you might get to the place where it's not moving for you. And to find out from others. We have what I call another of my superpower kind of things that I like to think about. We have, each of us, especially those of us that are more sensitive. Everybody does this. The more sensitive you are, the more you do this. And I call it the vulnerability. So vulner is a Latin word. It means wounding. And so within our wounding, we have an ability.
Right.
So that ability that I gained from my wounding was these spidey senses of safeness. So for me to exist in the world as someone with ADD that didn't understand why what I'm doing wasn't okay, and why is what you're doing okay? I don't get it. So I would do this thing about always reaching out and trying to be in other people to figure out what was going on.
Right.
So I was out all the time. Right. Still, now that I'm energy aware, come home with their energy. I don't need to be out sniffing around all the time. In the psychosomatic therapy classes that I was taking, maybe this was, 7, 8, 10 years ago, and there's a component of that where you do this emotional release therapy.
Right.
And it was amazing. It was horrifying, but so we were working on each other. This gentleman was working on me, and he touched one of our points, which is a release point, was on my leg, and I went somewhere else and reenacting sexual abuse. And teacher came right over and helped the student through, thank goodness, and me through. And through that experience, I released all of this that I didn't know even could be released out of a body. Like I would carry all kinds of, like you say, these knots of pain all through my arms, and where I would hang on, because I have tendencies hanging on in certain parts of my body.
Right.
So I would be, and all of that went away instantly.
Yeah.
And I just thought, it's done. By a year later, I had it all back again. Because I hadn't cleared the energy. I was still comfortable. I still wanted that feeling.
Right.
I wasn't comfortable without that feeling yet.
Right.
So I had to get to the point to go, okay, that's been a huge part of my self-healing is I'm relaxed. Okay, I think I'm relaxed. Okay, this is not relaxed, Denise. Oh, okay. Okay, now I'm relaxed. Okay, now you are relaxed. But because I carry this and because when you go around in life and you want to be much littler or tighter or protecting or fighting back, and you develop shoulders up by your ears and one more forward and one more down and a face like this. When I started psychosomatic therapy, I have pictures. This is how I was. I can show you. And this is what's happened, is dropping all of this attitudes and states that I felt I had to be in to be safe.
Right.
And I dropped them physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Still doing this.
Yeah.
When I have to push hard in my masculine, my big toe on my right foot hurts. When I'm having trouble, really getting an idea of how to move forward, then I'll get a hip flexor hurt in that psoas muscle. So it's like my body is talking to me constantly about how it's doing. Yes, I thought you might get that. Yeah, I thought you might feel that too.
Yeah,
and when you get that level of acceptance and awareness of what is it you have to tell me, and maybe the story doesn't have to come.
Right.
Maybe it's just love you offer to that.
Yes.
That place, that foot, that toe, whatever it was.
Yeah.
For years I've been engaging. I let go of that lumbar disc disease thing. Right. And in exchange, I took on this back cramp spasm in my middle of my back on the right side. Right. And I would work through it in many, 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 many ways to remove many layers of story, of energy, or different things. And it kept returning. But I'm at the place Well, it still comes occasionally, very rarely, because I have emotion cleared all around it, so I don't get triggered by the emotions that were there.
Right.
But I remember when you get to a place of playfulness with this kind of thing, driving down the road for so many hours on some road trip, playing with it. And I realized that it's about wanting to hold on to love,
Right.
wanting to get some love,
Right.
wanting to keep some love.
Right.
So that I began to be able to rev it up over anything.
Right.
Because, well, yes, I can love anything, really, in a cosmic sense. Any old thing can be lovable.
Right.
So I'd drive along and I'd see a road sign. Oh, I want to love that. Oh, my back would hurt. And I'm like, oh, isn't that hilarious, Oh, let that go. I really didn't love that road sign. Okay, oh, that tree, so I could get that back spasm anytime. I could feel that yearning, hopeless, never going to happen kind of wish. The wishing, hoping kind of thing, which isn't that positive for us to be doing in our bodies. Our body wants current now feelings.
Right.
And when we do this remembering of what we've always wanted or hoping for something different, our body gets all confused and tangled up. And so to be able to play it like some kind of an instrument of torture driving down the road that day, I don't do that, but it is, I don't do that often anymore, but the idea of having that level of connection to the feelings and not the particular story, but an overall lifetime of feeling that way, that created this grind in my back that I want so hard to do this. I want so hard to please. But the rule is, if I want to be in surrender, no muscle relaxants, right? Just like so no muscle relaxants. Also, not my grinding, massaging machine either, because that gets rid of it. Also, I have a very good body connection ability where I can simply relax those muscles consciously.
Yes.
And I can do that.
Yes.
But that's, again, not surrender. And so it's like, oh my God.
So what's the difference then? What's surrender?
The difference
the way
is
you're talking
I'm
about?
in that, and I'm not trying to get rid of it in any way. I'm surrendering for it to show me what it needs to. Not for me to make it go away, make it do anything. Just be with it.
So when it has succeeded in telling you what it wants to tell you, it, I am assuming, will dissipate anyways, because it's a messenger, right?
Yeah, oh yes. And the thing of it is I've not, at this point, gotten to the depth of the message. I have, like you say, so many tentacles and things.
Yes.
So when I first got it, I was, extremely clear, this is about my dad.
Right.
Me trying to please my dad and never could please my dad. And so once I did lots of emotional clearing about all these feelings of that, and then authority was, because I did it around authority figures, which was still my dad. And, so unwinding this ball, and I thought it was gone for good. But now that I'm back in with these, trying to lift my work up, what it looks to me like that, of making my work acceptable to those that I've not offered it to before, my dad,
This is rich stuff. This is really rich stuff, because we all have those stories that we want to play out in our, and it's really not even, I think, about on a higher is not the right word.
I get you though, I think.
On another level, it's not, your father played the cooperative role of playing this out because your soul wanted this idea played out, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think in those terms?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And once you do surrender meditation long enough, the parent drops away.
Exactly.
But the parent, so I have dropped the deal with my dad, knowing that I want to be in the big dyad. Dyad meaning one-on-one conversation. I want to be on the big dyad with that, which I want, my sacred, my divine, my beloved. That's what I surrender to.
Right.
For a while I needed it to be at a distance, and I would be calling it the Great Mystery. Wakantanka, the Great Mystery, keep you mysterious. In the surrender meditation process that I'm doing now, I've invited a intensely intimate partner into my life that's with me all the way. The same as you're walking Ho'oponopono, I walk with that beloved in my life all the time. And it's me, I get. Yet, keeping it in this relationship, I get a wealth of love and answers and feelings that I know are always there and always have been there. And yet, amazing, miraculous things happen in that surrender meditation.
Cool.
I was in there.